what does the law apply to? The law applies to automated processing of digital data, digital personal data. And what that means is, and automated has been kind of watered down to say, even if any bit of the processing is automated, then hey, this law would apply. So for example, if I'm on a call with someone and I'm writing down the information that that person is sending me and sending it by email to my colleague who's sitting 5 meters away from me, that itself would amount to some element of automated processing. And therefore, to that extent, the law would apply, right? So let's not assume that the law would apply only if the entire process is automated. The second, of course, in applicability is obviously territoriality. At the other hand, I've had long debates ever since the law was out on whether the law applies only to personal data of Indian residents, or does it apply to any personal data that is processed in India? It's very clear, and we're not 100% convinced that the government intended this to be this way, but it's very clear that the law applies to personal data collected in digital form or offline and thereafter digitized, but that which is processed in India. So even if it's not Indian data, technically the law applies. Section 17 provides some exceptions, and we'll take you through it. But the act as a whole applies to any processing of data in India. So the initial reaction that at least I had, which was that outsourcing companies were in toto exempted, may not be entirely true. Still largely exempted by virtue of Section 17, but there is a nuance there. Further, the law also applies extraterritoriality, which means extraterritorially, which means if Indian data, let's call it Indian data for simplicity, data of Indian residents, is processed by entities not based in India. And remember, the word processed is very wide, so it basically means any kind of storage, calculation, profiling, anything of any sort. Then the Indian law would apply to those foreign entities, even if they do not have a resident Indian subsidiary or operation. With all of this, the government has also brought in some exemptions, standard exemptions. Exemptions for public interest, exemptions for court proceedings, exemptions for court-approved mergers and acquisitions, amalgamation processes, schemes, etc., not private schemes. Exemptions for processes built in place to prevent financial crimes, and exemptions for research and statistical purposes.